Hi, how are y'all doing? So, my overnight highs here, my overnight lows here. Now, with this downtrend, I didn't really like drawing it this wide while inside of this range, but clearly it was holding like 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and then it held a fifth time there. And so when I started trading, it was down here. Price had already broken out. I started trading like 840ish, like after 830. But But yeah, so I saw Devin caught this trade right here. I don't remember exactly how he entered, but oh yeah. So he got 60 ticks. His stop was above this swing, I believe, and then his entry was down here or something. But yeah, I don't remember the exact entry because I don't have it right in front of me. I'm not looking at it, but if you look at it, you can already get this downtrend by then. And then you can see these two legs up. And so it's like, even though it didn't reach the measure move, it's held down by this trend line. And so you have this downtrend here, two legs up, and you get this short-term downtrend. You have a break, and then if you look at it on a bigger picture, and then you assume this whole thing is a break, you downtrend, break, then first attempt lower once it breaks lower, and then he just basically entered on the second attempt lower there when it made that trap, how it ticked higher than that green bar, closed almost all the way down, and then it looked like he got in with a limit order. I guess it went up and filled him there. Or I think his ticks were slightly different, but he had a 30 tick stop and a 60 tick target. But yeah, this was before I was trading, so very impressive. Now, to me, when I see it, it's not the most perfect looking setup. Clearly, he knew what the price was doing, because you do still see the downtrend break, first attempt lower. There's a couple ways to look at it. You can look at it as downtrend break, and then first attempt lower, and then second attempt lower, and then the lower high after the second attempt lower. Or you can kind of see it as a downtrend and then break with this whole trend line. And then when it breaks the trend line, that's the first attempt lower, and then this trap right there making the second attempt lower. So clearly he knew what prices were doing there. Very impressive trade. He's up 60 ticks off that trade, or whoops. So yeah, that's what, like 15 points? 15 points, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, exactly, yeah, that's right. Alright, I just had to look at it on a calculator. But yeah, very impressive. And then here, when I'm looking at this, obviously, as this was before I was trading, I see two legs up. So I see this second entry here because it has a double bottom, and then you get a first entry short, second entry short off the key entry point. But to me, what looks better is these two legs here. So first entry, second entry off this key entry point, and then you get an entry pretty high up with this bar right here. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like it does close out of this short-term trend line. So to me, this actually does look like a pretty good trade. And it's been chopping through the EMA, so I wouldn't really be scared of entering into the EMA there. And so if you get in with the stop entry right there, it's like easily you can get 1 to 2 before these lows here. So that actually looks pretty good. But yeah, I didn't take either of those. These are my trades that I took. I took 3 trades. I'm 3-0 for the day. 8 points, 6 points, 2.75. And yeah, so I guess let's get to here now. So this is where I started trading. Price was all the way broken out down here. I saw that we had this downtrend in play. It seemed kind of like a wide trend for, being in a range, but clearly it was holding there. Then I was a little bit scared to fade, because you do have this short-term downtrend, a break, attempt at a new low. It made a double bottom, and you get that bar right there. But with this bigger downtrend in play, I was kind of scared to buy. Plus, it was like right when I was getting in, so I wasn't really prepared to place an order instantly anyway, especially with it looking kind of, bearish. So anyways, I waited for this. We had this leg up, broke the range. We have a downtrend. Or I didn't mean range, I mean it broke the channel. So we have this downtrend break, a couple legs down, attempting to make a new low before it reverses higher. Now here, you could technically look to get with this downtrend and make a new low, but EMA held price there, and then when it did close below there, it closed right back above, and so I don't think that it's worth taking this failed second entry. Everything's closing above. If we were really going to make a new low, then it shouldn't have such a big issue with getting through the EMA. So I just don't see anything worth taking there. Then we do push lower here, and then we get this second leg higher. We start going into this uptrend here. So you can get that drawn off those lows and then put it up to these highs, and they end up fitting pretty well. So 2 legs up, you just get these shallow corrections inside of this trend until you finally get a break. And so now you have 2 legs up and then a break, goes into this downtrend here. Get this leg up, it gets a little bit congestive, get that little failed breakout, and then when you get this double bottom here, you finally can draw this range here, which you can get pretty fast. So you have these highs, these lows, we're clearly in this range, and then here, I noticed someone took this trade, and it actually does look like a pretty good trade, but I just didn't see it. I might have been out of the room or something, but I did not catch this trade in real time. I believe it was Mike who got this trade, who posted it, and I forget what he did with his target, but I think he just did 1-to-1. But either way, I think it looks, it doesn't look bad for 1-to-2 because you are still expecting a new low for this downtrend, which actually, kind of has something to do with my next couple trades here. So we have the downtrend, break, clear first leg down, because you can look at this as a bigger break here, because even this is a pretty good size break for this downtrend here, but compared with its size, it's like you can expect a bigger break, like downtrend, break, and then a couple legs attempting to make a new low, and then reversing at the overnight lows is what I saw here. So yeah, we had this first leg down, and then you get this range, break out of the range. Most breakouts fail, and then if you draw this short-term trend line, clearly it closes outside of it. I don't remember exactly where he entered on, exactly what price, but clearly it's a second entry short, break out of this range. Most breakouts fail, and this ended up making the second push down because you got the downtrend break and this push down to a new low, and then a 2-legged correction higher, and then you get the second leg down here. And then that leads to my first trade, so I saw the range at this point, and I saw this trade here as a breakout of the range. Most breakouts fail. 2 legs down, a couple ways. So you have this leg down, break, new low, downtrend played out, but then it's also, on a bigger picture, you have this downtrend, break, first attempt lower, second attempt lower, on a big picture, at the overnight lows where it's retesting. There's just a lot of, it's perfect context. The setup is a little bit choppy, but the context is so good that I had to take it. So went for 1-to-2, 8 points. Got in a little bit early with the limit order because, it is pretty choppy looking, but I can still see what prices are doing. Downtrend has a break, new low, another push lower. It's at the perfect context area, so I went long there. And here I also entered on this trade, and I noticed a few other people did. We're all posting it at the same time. And so we have this uptrend here. So this gray uptrend, break, expecting a new high. And usually I like, because to me this is just a higher low. I see that it's technically a failed second entry because let me get these measured moves out of the way. So clearly you can see it's technically a failed second entry. You have that first entry short, second entry short, failure. But to me, honestly, I just see uptrend, break, expecting a new high, and then this is just a higher low because this higher low is relative in size to this uptrend here. This is just a little wick down, so I see a higher low here, and then this is a failed second entry here. First entry short, second entry short, failure. So it's like looking at it not based on little ticks lower, but based on what you can actually see with the whole bodies. So higher low here, failed second entry here. I didn't take the failed second entry. I only took the higher low, and then I didn't add on or anything. But yeah, the reason I liked this higher low is because usually I would want to see more momentum for them, but we are still getting higher highs, but it rushed through the EMA very, very fast right after coming off the overnight low. So it's at a perfect context area, and then it was so strong rushing above. I was definitely expecting another leg up. So yeah, I'm glad I took that trade. Looks very good. And we push out of the other side of the range. We fail back down. We don't get a setup. You can see this second entry long there, but it's not anything I'm interested in. And then we just push out again. So, oh yes, and then that does lead us to, you can clearly see these measured moves here. And so after I got around up here, I did notice it looks like we're kind of in this bigger channel. We have these lows, these highs. Clearly we're working higher here. And then after you get this two-legged move, you're in this range. So at first the range was more like this. Oh, whoops. So like that. Had the lows here. Now I didn't take this long. And so you can see the two legs back. It's a breakout of this range, and most breakouts fail. But really how I was seeing it was, here, let me remove that for a sec. Let me zoom out. You can clearly see these couple legs up here. So yeah, these two legs here, leg up, break, second leg up. It felt like we were just at the very highs, which there is still room to this measured move, but basically it just felt like we had a two-legged move up, and then we're at the highs, and then it rushed below the EMA. So I felt like it could really reverse there, so I was a little bit scared to buy, so I decided not to. But yeah, clearly, you do get the breakout, two legs down. It's not horrible. It's with the bias, and just after coming off the overnight lows. But I really was scared of these two legs up, and then it possibly reversing the way that it just kept closing below the EMA. So it's just not the best looking trade in my opinion. But we have a couple legs up here. I don't think it's worth shorting either, because we could be in this uptrend here. It's not confirmed at this point, but anyway, we have a push lower here, break, another leg down, two-legged move down. I would still be worried about buying. I don't like any of these. It's just they're not perfect setups. Like, I wouldn't take this as a failed breakout, and I also don't really want to take it just as a bounce, because it's just, there's no good bars. You get that horrible bear bar, and then this engulfing bar ends up closing way lower, and that's one of the reasons I always complain about engulfing bars, is it's like whenever I see them, it's like engulfing bar trades, they just work really well, and then every time I try to take them, they just tick higher, then close way lower. But either way, I just don't see anything perfect here. If you did take it, like after this bar closed above the EMA, and then triggered, and then tried to get in with a limit order, it probably wouldn't be that bad, because clearly there is support here. You get a couple legs down, but it's just not a perfect looking setup here. So it's not something I would take. But we have another push higher here. We go into this uptrend. So we go into this uptrend, we have a break, attempt at a new high, that kind of just creates this congestion. We have a couple legs down, it rushes below the EMA. This uptrend is still not confirmed, so it's not like, and also one more thing, I thought that it was off my, oh, never mind. So anyway, we have this little breakout, attempts to fade. It doesn't look like a good trade to me, just because we rushed below the EMA after making new highs, so it just looks like it's at a reversal area. I would really want something the EMA can hold in this particular case. So we just don't get that here. And I don't see any good shorts up here either. It really just turns into this bigger range. Very choppy, no entries. I didn't see anything up here. And so finally, we start moving down to this key entry point, which it's not drawn quite perfect there. All right, there we go. Yes, and then also at this point, that's where I had it drawn slightly wrong from how I had it earlier. At this point, it was off of this key entry point here. And so when you come off the highs of a channel, you are expected to reach the lows unless price proves otherwise. So that's another reason I didn't want to buy, is because we just came off the highs of the channel, and then we already are rushing below the EMA. So that's just not a very good context area at all. So we push lower, we get down to the key entry point, we just break through, it ends up not holding. So this channel, it didn't confirm with a third bounce. Clearly you can see that it's there, but it's definitely not a perfect channel. So we overshoot this smaller trend line here, we get this overshoot, at the same time we break the channel. I saw that one person posted they went long right here, and I explained to them. So they had a few different short-term channels. They kind of saw this like downtrend, break, new low, and then they tried to buy, but you just got to make sure you see these larger channels that are in play. And then even though it has an overshoot here, it's also just not a good context area. I mean, clearly this trend is not holding. If it doesn't confirm with a third bounce, then you don't really want to expect it to try to make a new high either necessarily. But because yeah, I didn't take any trades expecting this channel to make a new high because it's unconfirmed. So anyway, that's what I think about that trade right there. But it's just there's really just no entry that I see good there. And so we go into this downtrend. Hold on a minute. So anyway, we go into this move down. I have a bigger trend I need to draw here. There we go. So downtrend, break, couple legs to a new low. We start going into this range. At first the range is more like this. Sorry, let me just adjust this. So at first I had it like this, and I ended up taking this kind of as a breakout pullback, but I feel like I should have maybe extended my range a little bit higher at this point. So here's what I saw for this trade right here. I saw we had downtrend, break, new low. So the downtrend is played out. So we didn't quite reach these lows here, but we reversed early, which is a sign of more bulls coming in. And so after we had this little breakout that pushed out of the other side of the range, we got this breakout pullback. I didn't think it was a perfect looking setup, and it's not. And so that's why I only went for 1-to-1. It would have ended up making 1-to-2, and then, you know, and then more even after that. But I saw this as a reversal because the downtrend played out with a break and a new low, and then we immediately rushed above the EMA and held twice. It did close below there, but you can see that it's basically holding, and it's kind of like a breakout pullback of this range. Now, ultimately, I do think it's not the best trade ever. It is still into these highs, which I still had them a little bit lower for some reason, so I didn't quite realize I was entering into the highs as much, but you know, the context is all right. Just because it's a reversal pattern at an area that you'd expect a reversal, which is after a downtrend plays out near the lows, near the overnight lows, and then it already is rushing above the EMA and holding back above. So I think it's a pretty good looking trade. I thought it'd be best to limit into 1-to-1 and not try to go for 1-to-2 or anything. So anyway, we have a couple legs up here, and then after we get the second leg up, we rush back below. We get this lower high here, which I don't think is very good just because there's not really any momentum in that direction. I mean, there's just as much bullish momentum as there is bearish momentum, so I don't want to take just this higher low. Like, I liked this higher low because it just came off the overnight lows and rushed above, and I really thought it'd give a second leg. But this lower high is really just off of nothing. It just happened to bounce early, and then you get a lower high. I don't think it's worth taking. So we have this leg down, we have a correction, we go through the EMA, we have a break, new high for this little uptrend here, but it looks like it's just one leg up here. And, oh, that's right, I end up extending the range. So I ended up putting it to here because you can see the measured move. Like, you have it there. It's like that's almost a perfect measured move, so I just thought it fit pretty well there, so I ended up keeping it there. And the EMA is right in the middle of it, so to me it looks really good. Now, we have this leg down, break, new low, barely makes a new low there, but I think by one tick. Now, I didn't buy there just because it really did feel like we were getting bearish at this point, and I didn't quite get that range yet. I mean, this downtrend, I mean. But I don't think it looks good. It does have two big legs down, but there's clearly some sort of bearish imbalance in this range, because even if it is here with just a breakout, then I guess technically it doesn't have a bearish imbalance, but I thought it was here and the measured move really fit, but we couldn't get past the middle of it, you know, so I didn't really want to buy again. And then even if I did buy, it bounced at the middle again before turning lower. So anyway, we push lower here. Let me adjust that. I don't know how they get so messed up. So leg down, two-legged correction, then second leg down, pushing us out of the overnight lows. And then it wasn't too long after that. After we get this push down here is finally when I got this bigger downtrend. And I was thinking it might just not confirm, kind of like this other bigger one. But we push out, and then we correct to the EMA, get this little uptrend break, attempt at a new high. I don't really think it looks that good. I mean, we kind of just bounced really early in this trend, in this downtrend, then immediately closed above the EMA, and then didn't get a perfect short setup. So no good signal bars. When you do get this here, then I guess you do see that you can get that, but at that point it's really choppy, and it's like I wouldn't really want to take that into the lows of this down move here. It's not technically the low of the day. The low of the day was a little bit lower, but I would just be worried about going short right there. So we have a couple legs down. We rush back above the EMA. We get this little uptrend break, new high, and then I was done. I wasn't trading at this point. I actually stopped trading in this area right here, and then shortly after, I saw that we got this trade right here, which I would not enter on that signal bar. I would wait for that one and then wait for it to trigger, and it does look like you would have been able to get filled on this pullback right here, one tick below this bar right here. But I think it looks good because it's the third confirming bounce. You get this good bearish bar. The signal bar isn't good, but the good bearish bar after, and if you wait for it to trigger, you would have been filled with a limit order. Third confirming bounce in this downtrend, and it's a retest of the overnight low with these two legs up here. So to me, that looks like an excellent trade. I just wish I was there to take it. So that causes this push lower here. We get this two-legged correction, and another move to a new low. Now this right here would be tempting if I just, because it looks like a tempting trade, but it's not a good trade, I don't think. To me, I do see the uptrend break, new high, second entry short, but it's really not off of anything. It's not even off of the key entry point, and that's right after this huge bullish bar. So considering it's not a perfect setup in the first place, and then it also has this massive bull bar, I would just stay out of that. There's, you can't just take it because there's two legs back. But that does still work though. We go into this downtrend here. We have this little break, new low. It looks like it's just one move down kind of. So it really looks like we have this downtrend break, then new low here. Attempt to go back above the EMA, making that second attempt right now. So yeah, that's basically what I'm seeing for the day. So this downtrend is confirmed, so it might end up coming back into play, or not coming back into play, it is in play, but it might end up reacting off the line again. But I would want to see it, I would really want to see it reach the lows before, so that way it looks like a healthy trend, but, it's still clearly bearish. You can definitely still try to get shorts off here. But, anyway, that's going to do it for the day. Hope y'all enjoyed this review. Hope y'all learned something from it, and, yep, I'll see you on the next video.